Welcome to the crash course on derivatives for BFM semester 5 2022. Let's get started. So what are derivatives? Derivatives are financial contracts whose value is dependent on an underlying asset. Common underlying assets are stocks, bonds, currencies, commodities, market indices, etc. We'll study all of this in detail. What is an underlying asset and how is the value of the contract dependent upon the underlying asset. But basically what you need to know is a derivative is a financial contract, and it is called a derivative because the value of the contract is derived from the value of something else, which is an underlying. So the value is a derivative of something. That is why it's called a derivative contract. We'll study all of this in detail, but first let us see with the help of an example how the value of a financial contract can depend upon something else, which we are calling underlying. Before that, let's first see an example of a normal contract. Suppose you wish to buy something. This is who wishes to A, who's the seller, and B, who wishes to buy some gold. So A is giving gold and B is giving money in exchange. So how does a normal contract for sale work? You go to the market, you ask for the commodity, you negotiate the price, you check the quality, and once you arrive at an agreement with the seller, you give the money and you get the goods immediately. So the seller has a right to receive the payment and an obligation to provide the goods or commodities being sold, and the buyer has a right to receive the goods and obligation or compulsion to make the payment, and all of this happens immediately. When you go and buy something from a market like this under a normal sales contract, the price at which this transaction happened, this amount, this is called the spot price. This is a normal contract for sale of anything. Now let's see what happens in case of a derivative contract. A derivative contract is also a financial contract. Sometimes it is a contract to buy or sell something, just like a normal contract, but with a little difference. What is that difference? So for example, a forward contract or a future contract, which is a derivative contract, you will still enter into a contract to buy or sell something. That something is fixed, it is specific, it is decided. How much you will buy it for, that is also decided, but you are not buying it today. That's the only difference. You are going to buy it at a future date. You are not buying it today. You are entering into the contract today, but you are not buying it today. So today you are looking at the goods and you are agreeing the prices. You are making a promise that on a specified date I will buy this much quantity of this good and I will pay so much for it. Everything else remains the same except the execution of the contract happens at a future date. So today you are not giving money, you are not getting goods, you are only making a promise. Now, when you enter into a future contract, suppose you went to the market, there would be a spot price. That is, if you buy right now, this is the price. But in this case, you are promising to pay and promising to buy at a future date. So the price at which you agree, at which this transaction is agreed, might be different from the spot price, and depending upon the contract, that is called the futures price, the future price, or the forward price. We will discuss all of this in detail in upcoming videos. Okay, but first we are trying to understand how does the value of a contract depend upon something else, upon an underlying, right? So you have entered into a contract that after 1 month you will buy gold at a fixed price, which is called a future price or a forward price. Now let's see what happens after 1 month. So this is the contract you entered into. After 1 month, you will buy gold, 10 grams of gold. And suppose your agreed price, the price at which you agreed to buy after 1 month, is 50,000 rupees for 10 grams of gold. What happens after 1 month? Let's say after 1 month, the market price of gold, it can be anything. When you did this agreement, you did it for 50,000, but after 1 month, the price of gold can be more than 50, can be less than 50. Suppose the price of gold after 1 month in the spot market, that means if after 1 month you go to the market to buy the gold normally, the price has reduced to 45,000. But you have entered into an agreement, you have contracted that you will buy 10 grams gold for 50,000. Now you have to honor the contract. In this case, for the buyer, this is a loss of 5,000 rupees. Why? Because it is available. The same 10 grams gold is available in the market for 45,000 rupees. But because you entered into a contract earlier, now for the 10 grams gold, you have to pay 50,000 rupees. Okay. Suppose the price of gold had not fallen, the price of gold had increased in 1 month's time. And when you go after 1 month, the spot price in the market is 55,000, but you have a contract which allows you to buy for 50,000. In this case, what happens is you are making a profit of 5,000 rupees. Why is that so? Because what is available in the market for 55,000 rupees, the same quality and same amount of gold you can get for only 50,000 rupees. So this is a profit. If you buy that gold at 50,000 and immediately sell it again in the market for 55,000, you will make a clean profit of 5,000 rupees. So we can clearly see that this financial contract is creating a situation where you can make a profit or a loss. Therefore, this financial contract has some value. You can give this contract to someone else also, and that person can encash it, can encash the profit or book the loss. So there is a profit or loss, and what does that profit or loss depend upon? Clearly, that profit or loss depends whether you'll have a profit, whether you'll have a loss, how much profit, how much loss. That will depend upon after 1 month what is the spot price of gold. As the spot price of gold moves, the amount of profit or loss will be decided according to that. So the value of this contract is derived from the prices of gold in the spot market. So in this situation, this contract to buy gold after 1 month is a derivative contract, and the value is derived from prices of gold. So gold is the underlying asset. Okay, so I hope the relationship between a derivative contract and underlying asset is clear. In the same situation, if you look at it from the seller's perspective, just for more clarity, in the first situation where the price is 45,000 in the market, what he can sell, he has 10 grams of gold, he can sell it in the market for 45,000, but he is going to give it to you and get 50,000 in return. So the seller is going to make a profit of 5,000. And if the prices were 55, then the seller, what he can sell in the market for 55,000, he's forced to sell it to you for only 50,000 at a discount of 5,000. Why? Because you entered into a futures contract. So in this case, the seller will make a loss of 5,000. So you can clearly see that the value of this contract depends upon the gold prices. Therefore, this is called a derivative contract because the value is derived from prices of gold, and gold is the underlying asset. Let us look at some formal definitions. According to the Securities Contract Regulation Act 1956, the definition is a security. So it says derivatives includes, and then there are 2 points. First is a security derived from a debt instrument, share, loan, whether secured or unsecured, risk instrument or contract for differences or any other form of security. And the second point is a contract which derives its value from the prices or index of prices of underlying securities. So it is saying the same thing basically. According to the IMF, International Monetary Fund, the definition is financial instruments that are linked to a specific financial instrument, something else, some other financial instrument or some other indicator or a commodity, and through which specific risk can be traded in the financial market in its own right, in their own right. What is the meaning of this part? Once we get to a little more detail, we'll understand this part. Without being interested in gold, you can basically trade or speculate in risk associated with price fluctuation of gold. We will understand it in much detail in upcoming videos. The value of financial derivative is derived from the price of an underlying item, such as an asset or an index. So basically it's saying the same thing. Unlike debt securities, no principal is advanced to be repaid and no investment accrues. So if you want to earn money through investments, you have to first give out the money, make an investment, that is the principal, and then on that you generate a return. If you give out a loan, then you get interest on that. Derivatives are not like that. All right. Next definition, according to John C. Hull, who's an authority on derivatives, a derivative is a financial instrument whose value depends on or derives from the value of other more basic underlying variables. So basically the same thing. And the last definition by Robert L. McDonald, a financial instrument which has a value determined by the price of something else. This something else can be almost anything. It can be an asset or commodity, and we call it an underlying asset. So this is what a derivative is. There are several types of derivatives, but basically the common ones, futures, forwards, options, and swaps, we'll be covering them in detail in the upcoming videos.